Decided on a change of tack. Still going to do everything that I said I was going to do. I'm probably in the same order. But the plan is I'm struggling a little bit time wise and how much I can actually do physically. So I'm just going to come out here when I've got 15 minutes free and do a little bit and video it, and at the end of the week edit all the bits together. So all I'm doing for the moment today is the triple clamps, putting those back in, and I've still got both of the forks to finish cleaning up. So for now, put your teeth back in, triple clamps, triple trees, whatever you want to call them, yokes, are going in now, and forks later, but hopefully same video. And I think there was a bit of confusion at the end of the last video. I was really tired when I was editing it, and what I was trying to say, I'd lost a little bit of the footage as well, which didn't help. The bolt that goes through the shock mount, the shock link to the swing arm, threaded, and it was already knackered, but I run a tap and die through the nut and over the bolt, and it must have just, it looked okay, but it was obviously weak, and 78 Newton meters is fairly tight, and second time I did it, it just rounded off. So yeah, I've got a new one of those on order, but we've gone titanium with that as well. As I said, I'm going to try and keep it as original as possible, but at the same time, if I have got to change it, I want to change it for the better and bring it in line with modern day technology where I can. So let's get you set up for putting this triple clamps back on for now. Okay, so not sure if the camera's picking that up. There's the bottom bit. Bearings on, greased. And now I'm just going to grease up the top bearing. And I think everybody's got their own method of how they fill the bearing with grease. I like to fill the top, and then I go around the edge. Rubbing it all in, so to speak. Really plaster it in there so it gets all in behind all the rollers and that. God, I've got so much in there I can't even spin it now. There we go. You'd be surprised how much you can actually get in there. Sorry, I'll keep lifting you up, or lifting this up. So you can see all that lot's gone inside and there's still more to go in. So we'll add some more. Chucking it on the floor now. I think that's about all we're going to get. Right, stick you on there for the minute. Get the worst off at the top. Try and get this lot back in without getting too messy. some sort of a tip. I'll wake up in a minute. Now I need my C-spanner again. Where are we? Lovely. No notchiness. Now, I know there'll be a torque setting for this, but all I'm doing is just going by feel. I don't want any movement, which there appears to be none, and I don't want it to feel tight. There we go. I think that's about as good as that's going to get. Well, it's as good as it's going to get because it's where it should be. I think that makes sense. A little tiny bit of damage on the thread that I didn't realise. Now this one definitely has got a torque setting, but I'm not going to torque it till I've got the forks in, because it'll need to be able to move while I put them in. It's beginning to look a bit more bike shaped, isn't it? Nice new bolts for the clamps. I think they're for the lower clamps. Double check. Yep, they're for the lower clamps. I think the bottom one on that side's got a little bit of grit in there. Part of the reason for me putting these in now is because I know what a forgetful bastard I am, and I'll go and put the old bolts back in, not remembering which ones I've actually bought. Now, where's the tops for the bars? Okay, so why have we only got 3 of them? No, come on, I bought a set. Right, so now I've got to find another one of them. Obviously I've got the old ones, but even cleaned up, it ain't going to look right, is it? What a basket. On the plus side though, 2 of the boxes are now empty. When I left you last time, I'd just done the triple clamps, and they're in. I was a bolt missing. That's turned up, luckily. That's done, so I can get that bit finished. I'm going to put the forks in today. So they've literally just finished servicing them, and I didn't film it. I was getting so oily trying to do it on my own, and I can't hold them in the vise upright because it's just too small and it's too close to the table, so I couldn't film it. But they're done. New seals, new oil, cleaned all the guts out of them. Show you that one. So even got new covers on the bottom. That one's got a little tiny bit of prep on it that I thought I'd finished, but I haven't, so I've only just found that, so I'll do that in a minute. Then I'll get the forks back in it, and then hopefully that will steady up the frame a little bit more. The next thing I want to do after that is prep the engine ready for me being unable to lift and move stuff around very much, so that I can get all the paint inside done, get the clutch done, get the front sprocket changed, get the gear lever changed over, sort out the kickstart. There's nothing wrong with it, it just needs cleaning up. Then I can get the engine back in the frame, at which point I can carry on doing wheels, lacing the wheels. I don't know how long I'm going to be on crutches. Could just be a couple of weeks, could be a couple of months, so videos might be a little bit hit and miss, but I'll try and keep you all updated anyway. So for now, time to get the first fork back in it and go from there. There we go, made all the difference. So now what's going on? What have I done wrong? I don't believe it. Put the top one on backwards. What a bollock to drop. Luckily, it's a quick fix. Jesus, Yankee, come on. There's a bit of a giveaway because right at the front here there's the screw for the front number plate, screw hole for the front number plate. And as I said before, I'm only doing the top one up finger tight for the minute until I get everything in place. Okay, so let's try and get the first one in. And what I've done temporarily is I've just lifted the frame up just a little bit, just to make this a little bit easier to line these up. Come on, there we go. problem I'm having is you can't put too much upward pressure on it because I've got to try and hold the back down as well. It's a little bit of a fiddle, not so loose. I may just try and tweak that open just a little bit. I'm going to put underneath. Stay. I end up going from back heavy to back light at this rate. See if that's pulled it a little bit. I'll have to do a bit of a rethink on here. I think I'm going to be in your way. Let's move you round. Yeah, certainly by the time the second fork goes in, it's going to bring the front end really heavy. But I can put something in there underneath the front to balance it all up. Well, you know what it's like when you make plans, they all go to ratchet. So what you will have seen previously on this video would have been me attempting to get one of the forks back in the yokes. The plan was to put them both in so that I could hopefully get the frame a little bit more balanced, ready for putting the engine and that back in. As it turned out, that come back to bite me in the arse in a couple of ways. One, the yokes were really tight on the fork I was trying to get in, and I had a hell of a job getting it out. And what I meant to do was just prise them open a little bit before I got the fork in. Then I got the damn thing stuck, so I had to try and tease them open just a little bit to get that fork back out. And they were only ever going to go in there temporary, and the reason being is this. So these are the caps off the top of the forks, and they don't look too bad, and I was just about to clean them up, and then I suddenly realised on that one, now I'm not sure whether that's going to be in focus or not from this side, but it's all mangled around the edge where it looks like someone's had a set of Stilsons on it and just not been gripping hard enough, rather than use the proper sized bloody socket. Anything to be like a little bit of common sense. So I had to wait for one of these to come anyway, and then I found that the gaiters I bought, they'd sent the wrong colour. They were blue. They should be that blue, and they'd actually sent me like a navy blue. There's the caps. So the forks are all serviced, cleaned, ready to go. The only other thing that let me down is the decals that I got to go on the forks. Let me just put that one back over there before I drop the damn thing. So halfway up the front of the forks should be a shower sticker like that. I'm just going to see if I can get this to a place where you can see it. So it should go up that bit there. So I'm just trying to make sure I'm not hitting anything with the top of the fork. So it should go up there, kind of like that. Unfortunately, all of that is the bloody sticker. It's ridiculous, the most stupid thing I've ever seen in my fucking life. Designed to go on the fork, it should just be the shower sticker. And I thought, oh, you get a couple of little extra stickers, stick them on your plastics, or even a different place on the forks. No, these are printed on the back of clear vinyl. Absolute waste of money, so they're in the bin. So I've got to wait now for 2 more of those, but apart from putting them on, forks are done. They're all serviced, all the oils have been changed, the tops have been done, they've all been cleaned up, they're all polished, everything's looking pucker on there. I've ordered another couple of odds and sods, because you know what it's like when you go to put stuff back together, you suddenly think, I can't put that back on, it doesn't look good, it's not right, it's broken, just looks crappy. So ordered a couple of other bits and pieces. I got the pins somewhere, bear with me. Come on, where are you hiding? There we go. So I've got the new set of pins for the foot pegs, because mine they were pretty corroded, so they've got some nice titanium ones. But I've had to order new springs separately, but that's not a problem, they'll go on. Then I got a set of the fittings for the radiators, because mine again they were okay, but they're never going to look brilliant. I got a new set of blocks for the wheel adjustment. Again, mine weren't looking brilliant, and everything will clean up to a certain extent, but that's the state of the axle. Now the bit in between will clean up sufficiently, it's not going to be a major issue, but when you look at the blocks on the end, and that again, I can clean it, but unless I replate it, it's just going to look crappy. But a new one of them in titanium is 67 quid, so I might just have to go for stainless. I've been trying to work it that if I do replace anything, it's an upgrade. I don't want to replace new with like for like without upgrading it if I can, but we're running out of budget. Well, actually we ran out of budget already, because I'm trying to keep the cost down. So yeah, not brilliant. So I can't make up my mind what to do yet, but if I get a new rear spindle, I'm going to have to get a new front spindle to make that look right as well. I've got a new top nut for the yoke, so I'll stick that on while you're watching in a minute. That's titanium. That thing is so light you barely know you've got it in your hands, but it will do the trick. And then I've got the bolts turned up at last with the lock nut that connects the shock link to the swing arm. I think that's the correct description of it. And again, we've got titanium, so I think the titanium bolt is actually weighs less than the nut, which is up here somewhere. Well, it was up there. Oh, well, there it is. No, it's not. It was up there, but that thing is so light. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Stick that in, put the nut on the back, and then that's the back end done and dusted. Then we'll stick the new nut on the top yoke. Again, I'm not going to torque it down until I've got the forks in, so that I know they're perfectly in line. No point in doing it otherwise. So let's get you moved around, ready for doing that bolt. Right, so hopefully I have a little tip for you in a second. Just trying desperately not to hit the swing arm. So what we've done is I've tapped it through using an old bolt, which I'll show you in a minute. I've actually originally made it as an old form of a centre punch donkeys years ago, and it stood me fairly good so far. Just need some grease, bear with me. Forgot to get me grease. Yep. God, I'm smearing this on here like strawberry jam. Oh, that was too much. Let's see what happens now. I'm trying to get some bit off so I don't go bloody dropping it. Okay, so we go back through there. Nearly in. Come on, you bugger. Ah. That's all we needed to do, just push the frame, not the fucking swing arm. Come on. Look at that. Bloody hell. Sometimes you can't see the wood for the trees, as they say. Right, where's my little tapper box? Where you gone? Oh, you're up here. So here's a note change, you know that's all the way home. Now we'll torque it up. Now I forgot. Oh, that's tight. But I think we're in luck. It's just about enough. So what we don't want to do is to try and get enough holding this one and getting 77 newton meters on the nut on that side with a bloody great big torque wrench, because you never get you pinch your fingers in there. So what we do is we put that in there and let that take the strain. That way it won't damage the shoe and it won't scratch the thing, and then when it's time for me to take it off, I've got a little bit of leverage there just to loosen it, and everything should be hunky-dory. Although we might end up having to move the hammer just a tad. Just turn him up on his end, don't we? Just stay there, will you? Click, click. If only it was that easy. Right. Torque wrench. I have got some shorter torque wrenches that will do 77 newton meters, but I just don't have the strength in my arms to pull it anymore. So give me a second to set this one up. There we go. Self-doubting myself then. Oh, now I need bollocks. A bit more polishing to do. I will need the extension. I can't believe I've done that. A bit more polishing. Right. Get a parts washer out of the way. Right. Oh, come on, mate, you mind up. Are you clicking there or not? Why did that click? That's better. Must have just been pulling at a funny angle. So then we just release the pressure on the torque wrench. Helps keep it calibrated for a bit longer. Stick it back in the box and that can go away. And then normally, if you just left that loose, you'd never be able to pull it back. But on that one, you just wriggle him, job done. Nice little tip. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, as they say. Right. Now, fingers crossed, I've left this finger tight. Yes. In fairness, there's not a great deal wrong with the nut. It cleaned up fairly well. But I just happened to see the titanium one. And everything else up the top was titanium. I just thought it would match in a bit nicer. So finger tight it is. So that's pretty much all I can do for there for the moment. Right, let's take you off the stand for a minute. Apologies for the bouncing around. There we go. Right, so let's come around this side so you can see it a bit better. It'll be easier, I think. That's all nice and shiny shiny. Come back down to this side. That's all nice and shiny shiny. Just bring you in on there. There's a little tiny, where are we? Focus you bitch. Little tiny mark just there. I think we better get that out while I think of it. And I'm hoping that it will come out just with... No, you're doing this live with me. Right, come on, let's try and get you to focus. I mean, it's only like a very small scuff, but come on. There we go. So that little scuff there has got to come out. Now we refocus it again because I've moved everything. Now you see it's gone. You've still got the nick out of the frame there, but that's original and it gives it character, so that got left in. There's the forks with the nice red caps, all cleaned, polished, gated, polished and scotch brighted, just waiting for the sticker, for the right sticker, and then they're ready. We'll come over here a bit. In there we've got the wheel rims and the spokes. Next box, that's a set of plastics. And then up here, let's go back a bit. Come on, there we go, look at that. I'm getting this focusing bollocks eventually. There's the engine. Now at the moment that's literally as it came out of the bike. So the barrel bolts and the head bolts are loosened just so I can get them off. The gear lever is going to come off because we got a replacement one. Kickstart is over the back. Come on you bitch. There we go, there's kickstart sticking up out the back, that's got to come off. And then we clean that and spray it. Now I'm due to go to work tomorrow, so there's not going to be a great deal done on it tomorrow, but maybe a little bit. But something like that I can do. Let's put you back on the... So yeah, that's pretty much it. You've seen the forks. They could go back in there now and I could put the stickers on, but what I found was, as you will have seen at the beginning of this video, that just one fork was making the front so heavy it kept trying to tip off. So what I need to do is get the engine back in it, which was the plan all along, but I'm trying to sort of think on my feet as I go. I'm thinking what would work best, what's going to be easier, and also what am I going to be able to do, because I'm due to go in to hospital on Tuesday, today's now Sunday, for operation, which means I'm going to be either laid up totally or at least on crutches. So I don't want to be humping the engine around, so that's why the engine's up there ready to go. The wheels are accessible for me, although I suspect I'm going to end up having to do them inside because the bench up here is a bit of a shithole at the moment, and I could tidy it, but I haven't got enough space with all the bits and pieces that will go back on the bike. So I think I'm going to take them indoors. If it's nice weather I might do them outside in the garden and table out there. Hubs are there ready to go. Can't remember if I showed you the hubs. Let me show you the hubs. I took the rear wheel hub down just before I went on holiday because I kept walking into it and I kept getting a hub sized dent on the top of my head. But as you can see, they've all cleaned up nice. New bearings. What a pain in the bum getting the bearings in and out were, because I just haven't got anything big enough to hold it, so I'm having to do everything by hand. I have got a bearing puller with a slide hammer, but everybody's seen you pull a bearing out, you know how to do it. So they were done, and then to put them back in I used a piece of threaded bar with a socket and washers and just tightened them up to put it back in. There's the front one. Same story there, all cleaned up, raring to go. Should look really good against the gold rims. Once the wheels are done, I'm not even going to attempt to put the tyres on, which was the original plan. I'm going to take them to a tyre place. I haven't physically got the strength to do it. So I've seen a bike place locally and a tyre place. I've been into the bike place. He does a lot of restoration work in there, so he might be able to help me out. If not, there is a tyre place up the road that I'm hoping can help me out. I've not been in there yet, but I'll build them up, and if I can't true them, I've never done them before, but if I can't true them up, then I might be going down to the guy that does the refurbing, get him to finish him off, but I at least want to have a go. I want to do as much of this as I can. I've never done a full nut and bolt restoration, and before anybody puts in the comments that it's not a full nut and bolt restoration, it is, because there was nothing left on there. Not all the nuts and bolts have been replaced, some have just been cleaned up, and again, only really for budget. That's the main thing. Everything else is pretty much replaced or totally refurbed. I mean, you can't replace the frame, but doing this way and learning how to get the swing arm to look, I won't say factory finish, but close to a factory finish, certainly looks 100 times better than it did before. I kind of want to do something with an aluminium frame so that I don't need to paint it, because I can clean it up a lot easier. The problem being is most of the aluminium frame bikes tend to be 4 strokes, and I'm not a fan of 4-stroke motocross bikes. I've had this thing for 2 strokes ever since I can remember. And thinking about it, I think my first introduction, you know, when you're kids and you go down the woods and you've got a Honda C90 or something like that. We were all a group of about 10 of us on a battery just so I was just telling you about going down the woods on a little Honda C90, and yeah, my first experience of motocross bikes, when you're kids and you're on these little step throughs, either a C70 or a C90, whatever it was. We took the exhaust off, but we took it off from the barrel, and it made the weirdest of noises, and we were pissing ourselves with laughter. And then we could hear motocross bikes. At the time we didn't know there was. This is going back to probably 78, 79, something like that. And most of the bikes around, certainly trail bikes, that were popular were all 2 strokes, and like your DTMX, your KEs, your KDXs. I think the only popular trail bike back then that was a 4-stroke was probably the Yamaha XT500. Kawasaki, I believe, had just released the KLX, the 4-stroke version of the KDX, certainly around that sort of time frame. But we heard these bikes coming, and because we were young and small-ish, these things looked huge. I mean, like the front, my God, was like chest height. And if I remember rightly, there was a Honda CR250, there was a Kawasaki KX250. Some lucky bastard was on the KX500. Actually, I think back then it was the 420. Yeah, I think it was a 420 before the KX500. And the big Honda at the time was the 450, I believe. Then it went to the 480. So yeah, we're talking around about 78 to 82, something like that. Long time ago for me anyway. And these bikes, I mean, I just fell in love with them. The sound and the look, bright colours. They looked like really aggressive, and all the big boys were on them, and you have to do what the big boys do. And I think it was 2 years later, I walked about 1.5 miles up the road, and there was actually a motocross shop that started off, and I ended up being quite good friends with the guy. Started off selling all kinds of spares from his lounge, and then he bought an empty shop that was about 150 yards from my house and was in there. I used to go around there all the time for coffee. It was brilliant. But yeah, about 2 years after seeing these motocross bikes, I walked about 1.5 miles up the road to a shop that had about 6 bikes in it. It was another motocross shop, but not quite so good. And I bought a 1979 Honda CR250 Red Rocket. Man, I was in love. 2-stroke pawn, and if I'd have still kept it, the damn thing would have been worth a fortune now. Which is part of the reason why I've gone back to another CR as the project bike. That and the fact that my brother-in-law had, I believe this year, he might have had an 86 or an 85, but I think it was the 87 he had, and he used to race it, and I had a go on it and it was brilliant. So yeah, that's another reason why I've got this. So you're going to have to bear with me for the next video. I might be able to get one out next week, it depends. I'm due to go into hospital on Tuesday, today's Sunday. I'm working tomorrow. We'll be home in the evening. I might be able to get a little bit done on the engine. I've got it up there ready to go. It needs cleaning up, totally degreasing, rubbing back. I've got it on top of the tumble dryer at the minute, although the tumble dryer is covered up. We're not using the tumble dryer. That sits normally in another outhouse, but we're waiting for the boiler to be replaced, and the boiler's right above where the tumble dryer goes, so we just took it out for the minute, waiting for the plumber man to come. Get that cleaned up, and then if I'm on crutches and I can get in here, I can at least spray it. Gear lever's got to come off, kickstart's got to come off. Spray it up so that it looks okay, then when I start taking it apart I haven't got to worry about masking it, because I'm crap at masking. And then I'll do whatever I need to do, check the internals, put all the new gaskets in, put it back together, then it can go back in the frame. Then we should be able to get the forks in. If it's still a little bit weighty on the front, then I think what we'll do then is we'll get the wheels built up, get the rear wheel in, that'll put a bit of weight on the back. Might be able to get the subframe in, not sure yet. But the subframe really wants to go in after the engine's gone in, because I've got to get that swing arm bolt back out, because it goes through the back of the engine as well. So yeah, bear with me. I might have a video up next week with any luck, otherwise it could be a couple of weeks, but I'll try and keep everybody posted and put a couple of messages up and that. Thanks for watching, take care, catch you soon.